hey everyone, how's it going? Okay, so I've been working on piano this last week. It's my first week of learning piano, and I'm going to be shooting this video all in one shot, except for the intro that you saw there. And the reason for that is because I don't want to be misleading in any way, you know? I'm not going to try and play something, demonstrate something that I've been working on, that I've been learning, you know, play it multiple times till I get a really good take and then just put that one in the video, because that would be misleading, not only in, you know, having the viewers of this video think that I'm able just to sit down and do something simple but well every time, because that's not true, and also misleading on what's actually achievable for me based on the amount of time that I spent practicing. So yeah, I don't want to be misleading in any way. So that's the reason for that. So the amount of, yeah, this is my first week working on piano. Basically, the first day I practiced, I spent an hour on piano, and I know I mentioned before, I'm going to be taking lessons, but I'm not able to start them right now. So I'm a little bit figuring it out on my own to get started. The first video that I watched, I had worked on this thing that I found had no foundational instruction about what it is, how it contributes to piano overall, and I felt like I didn't really gain any understanding from it. So that most of that time I spent practicing, the knowledge I gained was mostly a waste. Except there are a couple of things that benefit me from that video. Like, for example, I learned that on the keyboard, the white keys go A to G, and it repeats the whole way. You know, my keyboard ends on C, but yeah, it just repeats A to G. So that's one thing that I learned. And then also just practicing moving my fingers, you know, and pushing keys with my fingers, there would have been some value there also. So yeah, after that first day, I rested for a couple days. My forearms were really sore from all the drum stuff that I do and piano from that one day. So I basically sat at the piano for five minutes a day over those couple days, and I just worked on memorizing what the A notes look like. You know, so an A note starts here. A note over here, it's always the note that's, when you have a grouping of three black keys, it's always the white note in between the middle key and the right key. So just as an example, so every time you look at an A note on the piano, it's always that one. So I was just working on memorizing what each note looked like in each position, so that I can work on building my ability just to look at the piano and intrinsically know what the notes are. And then, because that first lesson, I experienced working on something that I found of the actual content of it was basically useless, I decided I'm just going to learn chords. You know, I'm going to start with learning chords. And so I've had multiple people tell me when it comes to piano, oh, chords just learning shapes, you know. So when I started learning chords, I thought about the shapes. But I very quickly realized that thinking about chords as just memorizing shapes on the piano is not a good way to go about it. It doesn't build a foundational understanding of what that chord is, and it will get you playing some things quicker, but with very little understanding of what you're actually doing. You know, if you think, oh, a C, all you have to do is put your hand on a C note. And then so if C is number 1, you play key 1, 3, and 5. Boom, you got a C note. You know, so that's memorizing shapes. But again, then you have to look for the C note every time, find it, and then just think about the shape that you're playing. And I also found out, like, when you play a C, you can play any C, any E, and any G, and it still makes a C chord somehow. My understanding is not great, so like, how are you going to do that if you only memorize the shapes? And if you think about chords as just memorizing shapes, you'll know the shape, you'll be able to play the chord that one way, but that's all you'll gain from your understanding. Where if you think about, okay, a C note is C, E, and G, and what the C note looks like on the piano, what the E note looks like, and what the G note looks like, if you can program that into your brain just to know it automatically, then you can just look at it and play it no matter where it is. And the shape, if you're playing it in that shape, the 1-3-5 shape, the shape is just going to develop anyways. It has to, because you're playing it. So it's better, I find, to understand what the chord is, what the actual like structure of the chord is, versus just thinking about the shape. I'd rather build a solid foundation of understanding and take more time in the beginning than to go kind of quickly but not really have a good understanding. So for chords, I'll just kind of demonstrate a little bit of what I've been working on. I'll show the ones that I can play well, and then I'll get to the ones that, as soon as I'm like really struggling, I'll play some where I have to struggle, and then I'll stop there, because you'll kind of see my limit pretty quickly. So I was just practicing a C major chord on every spot that the 1-3-5 for that occurs down the keyboard. And then F major. Whoops. See, I'm slow at it. G major. So those chords are all on the white keys, and then I use this like acronym, Carl finds Greg, to remember C, F, G. They're all white keys. But I'm also working on memorizing, like, in the C chord is C, E, G. The F chord is F, A, C. The G chord is G, C. I'm still slow right now. Oh, sorry. G, B, D. G, B, D for G. G major chord anyway. So yeah, that's basically what I'm working on. I'll just play through the other ones that I'm able. This one I'm going to be a bit slow at. So D major. I need to play that right. Yeah. E major. Oh, sorry, yeah, I talked about how much I practice. So aside from that 1 hour the first day, I did about an hour and a half a second day, in which I found this chord, the chords here. I have 2 pages of chords, but I'm just on the first chord, the major chords and minor chords. And then that was another time, and then I also practiced half an hour this morning before starting to make this video, and that's all I was able to do this last week. Alright, I'm going to play A major. Okay, now we have D flat major. This is where I'm at, so I will demonstrate trying to play D flat, E major, E flat major, and A flat major, just so you can see. I mean, once I get it, I'll probably go pretty quickly, but figuring out what each one is initially, I'm really slow at it. So yeah, this will be the last demonstration of chords here. So D flat major. I don't really have it memorized. I know this is a D flat. It spans 4 keys, and it also plays the 3rd white key after the D flat. So I'm just double checking. D flat, the third white key, which would be F, and then the fourth black key, which would be A flat. So whoops, this one. Yeah. And E flat major. I'm not going to call out the notes for it because I don't have them. I'm working on memorizing them, but it's going to take a while. So E flat major. So you can see right there, I don't even know what the notes are, and I'm able to play the shape easily. Once I like figure out where my hand goes, the shape just comes with it. That's why there's no point in trying to focus on memorizing shapes. Alright, and A flat major. Alright, so that's basically all my progress in that regard. So my main goal, I have two main goals with piano. One is to do the full RCM, complete level 10 of RCM. I think there's 10 levels. I might be wrong on that, but that's my goal, to complete all the RCM. I'm going to do that through lessons, probably in the next, for sure, within the next 2 months I'll start lessons for that. And then I also just want to get really good at gaining freedom with chords, because I want to be able to play in church and play, like, a lot of worship music has really beautiful piano parts, and so my main quest on my own right now is learning the chords. But when I've done all that and I just want to have fun on the piano in addition to that, I did look up a tutorial how to play the intro for a song. I think it's called Only a Holy God. I might be saying the wrong song name, but I'll show you what I've learned of that also. And I'll show you what I learned from the video, and then what I kind of thought of to try to do on my own. So I'll turn this up a little bit. Alright, so here's what I learned from the video. Whoops, I'm going to start that again. Alright, and I am pushing the keys a little bit harder. So if it sounds kind of crude, I'm just pushing the keys harder. I don't know how much my camera microphone picks up. I do plan on getting a better recording setup, but for right now I'm just using my phone. Okay, so I watched the way they actually play this, and the actual piano part is much more complicated, way above my head. There's other things layered in, there's syncopated stuff happening. So I'm literally just focusing on just the core basic notes of this. And I wanted to have certain notes. I wanted to have so that there's like an ongoing ringing of notes throughout the whole thing. And so what I had tried to do was, when I first started playing it, was just keep one key pressed down like this. But I found that to be hard on my hand, and that might be a skill that's built in piano. I don't know. I'll wait for lessons to kind of learn about that and safe ways to do it that's not going to cause any kind of damage to my hand. So then of course we have the pedal, the pedal, when I push it down, makes notes sustain. So I tried playing it with the pedal pushed down the whole time, so that sounded like this. but I didn't like the sound of all the notes ringing out. I just found it kind of muddied it up and made like kind of lost clarity of the notes. So what I tried to do then was play anywhere from 1 to 3 notes, and then right before I play the next note, lift the pedal up to release those last notes and push it down right before or as I'm playing the next note to then sustain the next notes, and try to make it sound smooth so you don't hear the seams. It's definitely there's a skill to be built here that is going to take me some time, but I'm just going to demonstrate me trying to do it here. So alright, so that's kind of all I learned for fun. And then just for fun, I tried doing it with my left hand also, just to start, even though I don't know if they play it on the left hand at all during the song, I don't know, but just to get my fingers working, you know, to start developing my left hand ability to actually play notes. And so I'll do my best. My left hand, I'm going to try and do the pedal also. It's going to be rough, but I won't restart from the beginning. I'll just work out each part that I get stuck on here. So alright, that was really lucky. Usually when I try that with my left hand, I play the wrong note, or I have to start and stop like 4 or 5 times every time. So I really just got extremely lucky right there. And of course, I wasn't smooth with the pedal. You could hear like distinct stops and starts and stuff, but that's okay. It'll come. So one last thing that I just want to kind of demonstrate about why it's important, and I know it's important to learn all the notes from a chord to know how a chord works from every point of the chord, not just the main note. So in drumming, the drummers that are upper level drummers, I mean, yeah, they have really good technique, like hand technique and foot technique as a foundation is an absolute must. But out of all the players that do have good technique, what makes the high level guys so high level? It's the fact that they go really deep with the same things that everybody already knows. So I'm just going to give an example of something that a lot of drummers know, but only a small percentage can do. And then I'm going to explain an aspect of it that I can't do that definitely like elite level people can do easily and beyond, you know. Just to kind of show the concept of being able to understand something. So I'm going to play a paradiddle on my legs with my hands. A paradiddle is a hand pattern. It goes like this: right, left, right, right, left, right, left, left. And you typically play it with playing an accented note, which is a louder note, on the first note of each paradiddle. So I'm going to tap quarter notes on my foot, and I'll play the paradiddle on my lap as 16th notes, and I'll accent the first note of each paradiddle. So it'll be the first note of every sequence of 4 notes that's going to be accented. So all right, so a lot of drummers can do that, and that's kind of where it stops. I mean, they might be able to express that on the drum kit as a groove, as drum fills. But what if you ask people, well, can you shift the accent from the first note to the second note, from the second note to the third note to the fourth note? So I'm just going to demonstrate that here. Okay, so that's still like relatively simple in the grand scheme of what you can do with the paradiddle. Like this is nothing, you know. And then I'll just demonstrate one more way in which you can go deeper with the paradiddle. So to give context for this, I'm tapping 16th notes with my hands. So again, with the pulse of being the first note of each paradiddle accented, you have this. Now if I was just to play a single stroke roll, which is just right, left, right, left, right, left, as 16th note triplets, and I accented the first note of every 6, just so you can hear how triplets sound. So maybe playing sextuplets they're called, it'll sound like this. Okay, now I'm going to play the paradiddle. I'm going to keep the accent on the first note of each paradiddle, but I'm going to play it as 16th note triplets. I'll start playing it as 16th notes and then I'll switch to 16th note triplets. Left hand lead. Okay, so anyways, that's just an example of if you don't understand, to be able to think about the paradiddle from each note of the paradiddle, you have no hope of being able to do that, you know. And I could just see, like, in chords, it's going to be the same way, the same concept. It's just going to play out differently on the piano. And unlike drums, where I kind of understand how things work as a whole in the drums, I don't with piano. But I can see that this is important. And so anyways, not to make anybody think that I'm better at drums than what I actually am, or I have more understanding of what I actually am. When I'm playing the paradiddle as 16th note triplets, I cannot shift the accent down the paradiddle like that. I can't. That is something I've never worked on. I can play, there's 4 main paradiddle variations. I can play them all as 16th note triplets, but I can't shift the accent down all of them like that. I can as 16th notes, but anyways, I just wanted to show, because I demonstrated some stuff I can do, I also wanted to show where my limit is and kind of that stuff. So yeah, I apologize for the ranting, and if what I said isn't well put together, that's just part of shooting this all in one take, you know. But that's very important to me. Later on, once I'm able to play full songs, I will try to take like a really good segment and include clips of me doing something that I do at my best in future videos, especially when I have a better quality recording setup and can actually play the piano. But when I do that, I mean, I'll be up front and I'll say, okay, on this take, you know, I got a really good one. I would probably also include a clip of me playing it at my worst, you know, just to give an honest kind of range of what my abilities are actually at. But anyways, thank you everybody who's watched this video, and I'm having a lot of fun with piano, and I really would like to know what you are working on towards and what you're practicing at, or what your goals are in life, you know, whether it's trying to save money for something, trying to accomplish something, anything like that, you know. I would love to know that stuff. It inspires me, you know. So thank you again, and we'll see you in the next video.